Hello everyone, my name is Miss Sidra. How are you all doing today? Wonderful. Okay, to start with, let's first talk about our daily life. So, in our daily life, we perform many tasks, isn't it? From dawn to dusk, we do a lot of work, a lot of tasks. So, any task that we perform includes various steps. We complete them step by step in a particular sequence. Okay, students? Let's learn it with an example. Suppose a teacher asks Abby to bring notebooks of his class from the computer lab. Since he is new to school, so she guides him the way to reach the computer lab. She gives instructions to him in the following manner. Move left from the class, go straight. After leaving 5 classes, turn right, then move forward. After leaving 6 classes, take left turn. After leaving 3 classes, you'll reach the computer lab. Likewise, the computer follows step-by-step instructions to complete any task, which is known as a program. What it is called as a program. So, a program is nothing but a software which tells the computer what to do. That computer does right from start to the end. That means starting up the computer and shutting down. Like you start the computer for your class and you shut down after your class. That is all done by a program. Any game that you play on your phone or a computer is nothing but a program. Okay? Now, the language used to write programs is called as programming language, and the person who writes the program is known as a programmer. Okay? All right. Now, let me introduce to a platform called as Scratch. Okay? Now, what is Scratch? Scratch is a computer programming language that lets you create your own interactive stories, right? Stories which we all love. Now we are going to make one for ourselves. Okay? Animations. The animations you find in your games. We can also create it over here. The music, we'll love hearing it. The art. So now Scratches, you need not worry. Scratch is very easy to learn and it is used and it provides you an interactive environment to create programs by just dragging the colorful blocks. You can see the colorful blocks on your left, right? Yes, just dragging the colorful blocks. Okay, students? Now, let me give you a quick walkthrough of the Scratch. Now, let's talk about a cat over here. So, this is a default cat. You can change the character of your choice. You can put anything of your choice. So, this cat is nothing but a sprite. Now, what is a sprite? A sprite is a character. You can add any character in place of the cat. And the place where the cat is placed is known as stage. The empty place is called as stage. Now coming to the left corner of your scratch, you have a code palette. You can find a lot of colorful blocks over here like motion, looks, sound, events, control, sensing, operators, variables, and my blocks. And the area which you find in the center is nothing but a script area. Okay? Now, you must have a question that how do we start the game? Like when you play any game in your phone, you have a start button. Similarly, you have a green flag over here which will help you to start the game. And what if you might ask me another question that what if, ma'am, we need to stop the game in the middle? Then there is a red button which helps you to stop the game. I hope I'm clear with this. Yes. So now let's build a very simple interactive game today. That is what can any guesses? Yes, we are going to build a very simple game that is guessing number. Okay, we're going to build a guessing number game. All right, fine, wonderful. So this game is an excellent example of block-based coding. What you are learning today is a block-based coding. So these are all blocks with the help of which you can build your number guessing game. Okay, So we are going to learn about loops, conditionals, variables entirely in this game. Okay? Now, what is this game about? Let's first talk about it. So here there are two players. So every game is played between two players, right? Two or multiple players. But here we are two players, us and the computer. So we are the player and the computer is also a player. Now, what does the computer do? Computer have a secret number. Computer is going to have a secret number that is between 1 and 10. And as a player, we need to guess that number. Are we ready to do that? Yes. But computer is very good. He's going to also gives us the hints. Okay? Wonderful. Now let's start by going to your events. Now first, let's take a block called when green flag click. Now what is a green flag? Green flag is nothing but an event. When you click on the green flag, something should happen. That is nothing but an action. Whenever you're going to click on a green flag, that triggers an action. Let me explain you with the help of a quick example from your day-to-day life. For example, you're clicking on the switch, either of a light or fan. When you click on it, the light and fans gets on. Likewise, if you switch it off, it gets off. Likewise, when you click on the green flag, something is going to happen to the character or the sprite. So that is the event, and whatever is going to trigger, that is an action. Now, going to the other next block, that is you're going to have a variable. Now what is a variable? A variable is a container which holds and stores the value. Now let's understand it with the help of an easy example, like your toy box. You have a toy box at your place, so that toy box is nothing but a variable. What you're adding inside it is the values that are your loving toys, your fun loving toys or your soft toys, whatever you're going to add in it, that becomes the values. Likewise, we are going to create our own variable. Okay, so what we are going to name a variable as guess, because the computer is going to have a guess. We are going to have a guess. That's why we are creating our own variable, that is set guess. So now, right now, we haven't guessed anything. That's the reason we are going to just put a value to 0. Now, what about the variable for the computer? Let's make another variable for the computer, that is the secret number, because the computer is having a secret number which we are going to guess. Now, let's take variable and add it over here, secret number. Now, as I told you, the number is between, the secret number will be between just 1 and 10. The computer is going to hide the secret numbers between only 1 and 10. All right, not more than that. Now let's go to another block, that is repeat until. So why are we using this block? This is nothing but a loop. It is going to repeat. Loop is nothing but doing action again and again. Like you're cycling, you're pedaling one by one again and again to reach to the certain point. Likewise, this loop will help you to get the right answer until you win the game. So till then, you can keep guessing until you win the game. All right, now going back to the variables, you're going to take, you're going to go to the operators and you're going to take an equal to sign. You're going to go to the variables again. You're going to add a guess. Repeat until guess should be equal to the secret number. So your guess number should match the secret number. That is only the winning condition. Okay. Now let's go for your sensing, where you're going to add up a question. What can be the question? The question can be, guess my number, and inclusive, that is between, what should be the number? It's between 1, to be more specific, we're adding 1 to 10. Okay, hope that's clear. Yes. Now let's go to our variables again. Now we are going to set guess number. After you are asking, then you have to set another variable, that set number, to answer. Whatever you're going to answer, that the guess number should be your answer. All right. So you are specifying it over here. Now going back again to the controls, we are going to take a conditional. Now what is a conditional over here? The condition over here is if else. Now let me explain you if else with the help of a simple example. It's a rainy day out and Abby wants to go out and play. Now he seeks permission from his mother. He asks, Mom, can I go out and play? Now what does the mother say? The mother says, if it's raining outside, you can't go out and play. Else you can go out and play. So that is the condition which, if it is satisfying, then the Abby can go and play. Else, Abby has to stay indoors and play. Right? Similarly, now you're going to go to operators. You're going to take an equal to sign where you're going to go to the variables. If your guess is equal to your secret number, it should match. If the guess number and secret number is same, what does the computer will say? It is going to say great job or a good job. Let's write down good job. All right. Now let's go for else condition. Now what has to be there in else? To make it more interesting, instead of just telling a wrong answer or not a correct answer or give it a try, we can make it more interesting by adding another condition over here. What can be the condition? Let's talk about another operator that is greater than. So what can we add in a greater than? Going to the variables. Now let's say if our guess is greater than the secret number. If you're guessing the greater number, that means below 5, these are all smaller numbers, and above 5, they're all greater numbers. So if your guess number is greater than the secret number, what does the computer has to say over here? The computer will say too high. So what does the computer says? It says too high. All right. Now, what happens if you guess a smaller number? Then the computer says too low. Right. So that's how it works. Now, let's test the game. As I told you, you are going to just click on the green flag to test your game. That is, you are going to run and you're going to test it, whether it works fine or it doesn't work fine. Okay? Now let's click. Now it's asking guess the number. Now this number is 6, as I told you. Now let me write down a smaller number, too low. All right. Now let's conclude this. So the Scratch number guessing game is perfect for understanding your essential program skills. So we have seen how variables store data, how the user is taking, how the user input is working. So we are giving our input as a guess number. So how does it takes it to make it more interactive or interesting? And we have also used a loop repeat until. So it is going to repeat until you win the game. All right. So thank you for building such a wonderful game with me. Now let's move forward to our another screen, or we are going to go for another window to explore. So we are going to dive it into code.org app lab to explore how to build an interactive games or applications. So our project for today is very simple. Okay, so let me welcome you all once again. So welcome again to the code.org, where we are going to build our simple calculator, and it will teach you the programming logic and user interface. Now let's talk about your code.org. Here you have a mobile simulator. So the artificial mobile which you see, it's nothing but a mobile simulator. It is an artificial mobile where you can see your simulation that is used for purpose of your study. You are just practicing something. That's the reason. It looks like an actual mobile, but it is just a simulation. That's why we call it a mobile simulator. And what's the button, a yellow button on the mobile simulator? It's nothing but a run button. Like in a Scratch, you have a green flag. Similarly, here you have a yellow button. That is for running your program or running your game. Okay. So first, what we are going to do, we are going to give a quick walkthrough. So in the middle, you have a toolbox where you have all the block codes over here and the colorful codes. Okay, like UI controls, data, control, variable, Canva, turtle, map, and functions. And on the left side, as you see, is nothing but a workspace. Okay, like you have it in your Scratch, right? A script area. Similar to that, you have a workspace. Now, talking about your mobile simulator. So, above your mobile simulator, you have a switching windows, code and design. Now, to do anything or to make an app, the design is the crucial part. Design, code, test, and run. So, any app or any game which you make has three steps. First, you have to design it, then you have to code it, then you have to run and test it. Okay? Before that, we have to also decide the purpose of the app. So the purpose of today's app is making a simple calculator which we use for doing mathematical calculations. Okay, now toggling into the design mode. In the design mode, you have a design elements which are also called as user interface elements. Now, what are user interface elements? The user interface elements are nothing but the visual components. These will be all visual on your app. You can see and you can interact with it. Okay, that's what the UI elements or user interface elements are called as. Fine. All right, wonderful. Now let's start by your screen. Now let's name the screen as a calculator. Now I'm just naming the screen as a calculator. So this screen, the screen one, renamed it as a calculator. It was screen one earlier and now I changed it to calculator. I don't like the white color, so I want something interesting. So I'm going to change it to some blue color. Yay, that looks wonderful. Now I added a blue color to my screen. As you can see. So the background color of my mobile simulator turns blue. Now let me drag a quick label over here. So in the label, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just make it a little bigger and do a placement properly. Yeah, drag it a little bit. Now, in my label one, what do I need to write? I need to write this is the, this is where the result will go. So this is the place where it is going to show your result. Like in your calculator, you have a specific part on the top where you see after you're just typing down the numbers, you can see the result. Similarly, here is the place where you're going to see your results after you're calculating. Okay, let me just make a little bigger. Now, what can I do more? I can change the text color to little interesting. Let's make it white because it's more visible to us. And also we can change the font size to little bigger so that it's visible. Let it make it in a one line. Yes, we can try. Yes, here we go. Let it make it like this and we'll drag a little bit. So here's the place where you can see the results in a label. Now let's talk about the next UI element, that is your text input. So text input is nothing but the area where you're going to type down your numbers. Whatever numbers you're going to use for addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, you're going to just add your numbers here. Now, you need two text inputs because you can't do addition with one input. you need two numbers for addition, like 2 plus 2. You need to type down two numbers. And also for subtractions, you need two digits or you need two things. Similarly, you're going to have two text inputs where we can make this little bigger, similar to the size. Yes, here we go. I have two text inputs over here for my first input and my first second input. So I'm going to write down my first digit by which I can divide, or I can addition by with my second digit. That's the place. That's the reason I add two of my text inputs. Now talking about how do we go for another UI element. Now the another UI element which we are going to add is for addition. We're going to write down add over here. So the first function is nothing but addition. You can change your color of background color of your button if you like to something more interesting, but it looks good when it is just in blue color. Or let's make it red. Yeah, that sounds great. Now we are going to do four functions today, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's the reason we need four buttons. Now let's write down subtract. Okay. Now let's change the color again to blue. Let's keep all the buttons similar. Okay, students? Right. Now let's drag and drop the third button, that is for multiplication. That is, you're going to write down multiply. All right. Now let's change the background color to red again. Okay, this is blue, so I'm going to change it to again red. Let's see here. Right. Now let's take our final button, that is nothing but the fourth button, button 4. You have an ID of the button. So each element will have a specific ID. Now talking about the label have a specific ID, label 1. You can change the IDs as per your convenience. Right now I'm keeping it very simple because it's a very simple game. So let's keep it label 1, label 2, button 1. If you have multiple components, it's better to name it as per your convenience, the by which you can remember it in your code. Like I changed the screen name to calculator. It can be a screen 1 as well. It's nothing wrong in that. Now let's go back to our button 4 and write down divide. So the last function which we are going to do in your calculator is division. Now let's change the button color again to red. So this completes your design. Now let's toggle back again to the code. So we have used all your UI elements and we have created the design of your app. That is your calculator, a basic calculator app. Okay. Now we have already toggled into the code. So in the code, what we are going to do, we are going to code for the specific UI elements which you have already on your mobile simulator. Without code, the application, the game or the app, whatever you have made is never going to work. So we are going to now use the simple logic and we are going to start with your coding. Now, the first thing what we are going to do is we are going to take an on event. So what is an event? Event is something that happens on a click of a button. Like I just gave you an example in the Scratch, like when you're clicking on the switch, the fan or the light is getting on. Similar way, likewise, when you click on the button, it is going to carry out some function or a specific function. Okay. Now, what is the name of the function for the specific task? It's addition. The name of the function for the specific task is addition. Now, we are going to change the button to button 1 because our first button is addition. Now, we are going to go to your variables. After going to the variables, we are going to declare a variable. What is the variable which we are going to declare over here? we're going to declare a variable name as number one, as we need two numbers, as I said, for the first text input and next for the second input. So we are going to declare a variable number one for our first input. And going back to the UI controls, we are going to take get number. How are we going to get that number? We are going to get that number from the text input. Unless you don't enter it, you're not going to get the number. That's the reason number one variable number one equal to get number text input one. You're going to get that first filled up place with the help of your number, which you're going to give as an input in the text input one. Now, what about the second number? We are going to again take a variable. We are going to write down number two. Let's not give any spaces. Now, going to the variables, sorry, UI controls, get number, and we are going to get number with the help of your text input 2. Now let's again quickly go through the variable. Now what is a variable? A variable is a container which holds and stores the value. Here the variable what we are going to use is nothing but it acts like a container. What are the values which you're going to add is your numbers. It is going to store your numbers until you get the result. That is your sum up results, your minus results, your division results, or your multiplication results. All right. You can also relate your variable from your day-to-day example, like your school bag. A school bag is a variable. The books which you add in it is nothing but your values, right? All right. Now, going to your UI controls, as we are already there, we are going to set number over here. What is the set number? It is our label 1. So, in our label 1, the numbers is going to, you're going to have a display result. So, set number, that is what is the function we are doing? It's addition. So, we are going to write down number 1 to addition to number 2. So you're going to get a desired result when you go for your addition. When you're going to, why are we adding this? We are going to set the number from set number 1 in your label 1. You're going to get result in your label 1. That's the reason it's set number label 1. And what is the result as a number? You're going to see the number 1 getting addition to your number 2. That is summing up of your two numbers, number 1 and number 2. All right. I hope that's clear. Now let's run and see the function. How is it working? Only for the addition. Now let's put an input of 5 and put the input of 8. It's 13. Wonderful. So that's how our addition works. So are you guys excited to go for the other operators? Yes. Isn't it very simple and easy? Yes, it is. Okay, now let's go for again. Let's reset this. You can go for on event again. Now, what is the ID for our second button? It's button 2. I kept it very simple. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Now, again, we are going to declare a variable. The name of the variable is similar, number 1. Again, going to your UI controls, get number, from where we are going to get our number for subtraction as well, from your text input 1. Now, again, going to the variables, declare a variable, number 2, and from where you're going to get the number 2 for your text input, you're going to add get number, and it has to be your from text input 2. You need to add, you are going to get the input from your text input 2. Now you're going to set number for the result, and that has to add a block from your UI controls, and result is going to be displayed in your label 1. And what is this function? This is subtraction. So that's the reason you're using a minus sign. Now you're going to subtract number 1 from number 2. So let's write down your variable names. Now let's quickly test this by clicking on the run button. Let's click on the run. Now write down 9 and minus 3. Let's see. It's 6. Isn't it correct? Wonderful. Let's give applause to ourselves. We did two of the functions, addition and subtraction. Isn't it interesting? Till now, we were just using the calculator. Now we are able to make one. Wonderful. Now we are programmer. Wonderful. Now going for the third function, that is multiplication. I find students struggling with learning tables, but I think it's very easy. It's just the difference of the numbers. Like you take an example of a table 2. It's 2, 4, 6, 8. You have gaps of two numbers. That's how you can memorize it very easily. Now talking about your third, let's again start with on event. As I tell you, event is something which is going to trigger an action. So when you're going to click on the button, unless you click on the multiply button, it is not going to happen. Similarly for addition and subtraction. Now let's change the ID to button 3, as the multiplication button ID is button 3. You can just place your plus and you can check the IDs. You need not toggle always to the design and code you're in there. It's where you can make your code simply, and you can make it very simple and by using your smart work. You need not do any hard work over here. Now for this, again, you're going to declare a variable, and same, the ID of this is number 1. And how do we get that? We're going to add get number. Wonderful. Now, from where you're going to get a number? From your text input 1. Now, going to your variables again, you're going to take number 2. You're going to declare a variable naming as number 2. From where you're going to get the number, you're going to take get number, because you are going to write down two numbers and you're going to click on the button so that you get a result as expected. Now you're going to get a result in a form of a number. That's the reason you're adding set number, and where you are going to get it in your label 1. And what is this function? This function is nothing but multiplication. You're going to multiply the digits. So what is that digits? Number 1 getting multiplied by number 2. Here we go. So would you like to test this? Yes. Now let's see. 8, 5. Let's multiply. 8 5s are 40, right? Wonderful. Claps for us. Now, how much is left? I think only the last function is left. Yes, only the last function is left. Now let's quickly hop into the UI controls, taking your on event, and you're going to change the ID to your button 4. That is your last button. As you can see, its ID is button 4. Now going to the variables, you're going to take a variable and you're going to name it number 1. Right. Yes. Again, going back to your UI controls, get number, from where you're going to get the number for division. You are going to give an input. So that's the reason you're going to add an ID of your first text input. Now going to the variables again, take a variable and write on the number as number 2, because you are only going to give the number 2 for your calculation. Now you're going to get number from where? Where you're going to enter. You're going to enter it into your text input 2. Once you enter this, what is the next step? The next step is you're going to set the number. You're going to get it in your UI controls, setting the number, and where you're going to get the result is in your label 1. And the last function, as we go into function, is your multiplication. So we take the sign of the multiplication. It's quite different as you see in your math notebooks or math readers. It's like two dots and mid center line, but here in coding, it's just a slash. Hope you don't get confused in this. Now, number 1, let me correct this. Number 1 divided by number 2. Great. Now let's test this. Are we ready for this? Yes, we are ready for this. Now let's write down 3 divided by, let's see, 3, right? Okay, wonderful. So today we have completed we have completed our simple calculator app using your UI controls, your variables, and you have seen your UI elements, how you can use your UI elements. So isn't it a wonderful job that you completed your own calculator? You should be proud of yourself that you have made one for yourselves. So these foundations, what you have learned today, are nothing but it is used in almost all the building games. Whatever games or the apps you're going to build, that is going to be used in every application. So these are the foundation. So I hope you guys enjoy learning and making games with me. It was fun teaching you all. Thank you so much for watching.